I know that you're sitting here and you're in clinical gear. And when you're in clinical mode, you're thinking about the technical and medical aspects of taking care of the mouth. But at the end of the day, we all know that when you go back to the practice, right, your technical skills and your knowledge are going to be a part of what makes you effective and successful. At the end of the day, you're going to have to be able to work your ideas and work your skills through the hearts and minds of the people attached to the teeth. Now, I'm going to say this again. You're going to have to work your skills and your ideas through the hearts and minds of the people attached to the teeth. Now, when I mention this to groups sometimes, people might think, yeah, rah, hoopla, kumbaya, I know that, and so on. But really, at the end of the day, when you go back to the practice, these skills are almost like oxygen in the room. You can pay attention to it or not, but it's impacting your vitality and your livelihood, whether we realize these things or not. And so at the end of the day, I think it's extremely important for all of us to understand that one of the most important skills that we can possess in dentistry today, especially in an arena out there where we've got advancements in technology, we've got better clinical treatment modalities, we've got early diagnostic tools, we've got, again, I'm going to say, technology and all of the impact it's having overall in our profession. When we put all those things together and then we add the fact that we've got a patient base that demands more in the way of cosmetics, also they want more functional and quality of life care. But there's one other thing that actually is happening in society that's impacting the work you do in the area of implant dentistry. Can anyone think of what that is? For $500 paid by Dr. Mark Lynn, can anyone think of what that is? Another area of society that's impacting. Oh, you heard that? Yeah. For free courses for 5 years with time. We've got a health conscious society. You know what that means? It means that people are starting to realize more and more, and they're becoming more and more aware of what? What is it? Say it. Not just the immune system, specifically digestion, stomach problems. Think about how many people today, go out to eat and they have stomach problems. And we know ourselves when you think of, studying medical dentistry, that there's a big difference between digestion and absorption, right? And those two go hand in hand. And as we all know, the first step in digestion is where? In the mouth. And so I think with that in mind, it's really important for us to understand that yes, we may be talking about implant dentistry, but we're not really, when we bring it back to our practices, we're not really talking about a piece of titanium screwed into your bone with porcelain placed on top. We're talking about something that's going to impact the livelihood and the health of the people attached to the teeth, and it's going to impact the way they live and feel for years to come. And so that's why it's important in our psychology when someone says, oh my God, what? $4,000 for an implant? We have to immediately, in our psychology and in our hearts, feel what I just said earlier, that $4,000 is not for an implant. It's for something that's going to impact the way you live and the way you feel for years to come. And that's what it costs for us to provide you with something that's going to impact the quality of your life. And so people may want to say to you, well, I can get it cheaper somewhere else. Can they? Can they? Can they get it even cheaper than that? And can they get it even cheaper than that? The issue here is at what point do they think that the money they save will be reflected in the quality of the result they have to live with? And that's why I think it's really important for us. Can I just grab that water, Darcy? On their lives and the tremendous opportunity. Having said that, I did some research this morning and I was surprised by the numbers. So I want to ask you, does anyone know, or if you took a guess, at how many people are missing at least one tooth in North America? At least one tooth in North America. Take a guess.
91%.
And it's the population, I think, is like altogether North America, what? 380 million with the US and Canada, or 390. What percentage of people are missing at least one tooth?
91.
80? Yeah, the number's high, right? Well, I was looking at it and it said 210 million people, right? But I found all different numbers in there. But at the end of the day, it's at least 50% of people, right? The number's probably a lot higher than that. And then here's a number that threw me even more, right? How many people in North America are actually fully edentulous that we don't see every day in our practices? Take a stab at that number. Any guesses? Throw it out.
20?
50%.
20%?
It's actually 40 million. I was blown away by this number. And when we look at this and we look at what society spent on dentistry back in 2006 was about $60 billion. When we look at what society is spending on dentistry today in North America, it's about 165 billion and more. Those numbers vary. Now, why am I mentioning all this? I'm mentioning all this for one specific reason. We have to understand and remind ourselves when you leave this program the tremendous opportunity that exists out there. Because at the end of any Tide program, I've often, like sometimes we'll meet a year later and we'll see, you know, the variance of implementation and integration. And at the end of the day, what we find, it's not, you know, the smartest dentist or the one with the best skills or even the one that's got the most medical knowledge that really thrives and is able to implement and integrate this into their office. Do you know who it is? Go ahead.
The doctor that communicates with their patients the best?
Yeah, well, it's a doctor. If we go even deeper than communication, you know, it's the one that has the greatest passion and energy and belief and inspiration and attitude towards what implant dentistry can do in the lives of the people attached to the teeth. This is palpable, and I would call this your energetic signature. And do you know what I mean by your energetic signature? It's the energy. If I was to say to each one of you, we took a video clip of you this morning as you were walking in, right? And it's on silent, right? And we played that video clip, and we asked you to just look at each person. Immediately what you're thinking, oh, how did I look? How did I look? That's your energetic signature. It's the way you carry yourself and the way you feel about what it is that you do. And when it comes to implant dentistry, it is an attitude, it's a mindset. Because at the end of the day, usually, historically, in dentistry, people look beyond missing teeth to find problems to treat. But edentulism has to become kind of, or the missing tooth component has to become more clear in our eyes. And it's almost like an artist, right? I coach a couple of dentists in California who happen to be artists. And one of them told me something. He said, Peter, you know, when it comes to cosmetic dentistry, he said, your eyes cannot see what your mind has not taught you to recognize. This is my guiding light when I'm treatment planning, right? What you see depends on what you thought before you looked. And it's really important when you go back to your offices to really expand your consciousness and to look beyond the obvious and onto the opportunity. That's when good collaborative communications can occur with patients that are communication that's beyond merely fixing the teeth or fixing the mouth. I had your card back there. Where did I put it? Can I get the two implant reps card for a second? If you can bring them both up. Okay, cool. Okay, so with that in mind, what I have found is 1 year after this program is done, just both, right? Cool, thanks. What I found is that 1 year after this program is done, every person on the program will implement this at completely different levels. The key here is you have to decide how energetic you are and how excited you are about turning this or breathing life into this through your office or through your environment, right? Does anyone know, I'm gonna ask a quick question. What does Starbucks sell? Quick, yell it out. Who said coffee? Right, here's what Starbucks says, right? Because this applies to dentistry. Starbucks says, we are not in the coffee business serving people. We're in the people business providing coffee. Which means what? It's the same thing in dentistry. we're not in the, let's call it here for this room, we're not in the implant dentistry game serving people, right? We're in the people business providing implant dentistry, which means what? It means that without people, we have nothing, but with people, we have something much bigger than dentistry or implants. And that's where your psychology has to go, that there's a big difference between good clinical dentistry that's delivered into a mouth and good patient care that's that dentistry served into the life of the human attached to the teeth. This is what we must do when we go back to our practices if we really want to bring implant care to the highest level. We have to be able to, as you said, communicate on a more human level. We have to focus on becoming more than just highly skilled technicians that are sticking procedures into people's mouths, and we have to focus more on communicating the quality of life benefits and involving the patients in that discovery. Now, having said all that, Dr. Lynn's got me here for about 15 minutes. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a 10-step process that you can use when you go back to your practices that will accelerate the growth of implant dentistry, into your office. And at the end of the day, if you want to grow as implant trained clinicians, the bottom line is that experience comes from experience, right? And so you have to be in the habit of placing them in people's mouths. How do we do that? I'm going to give you a 10-step formula, okay? Now, step one, I've already discussed right now. You have to decide to yourself that there's a tremendous opportunity out there, right? We haven't even scratched a fraction of the surface. There's 37 of you out here on this program, but we're still in the early adopter phase when it comes to implant dentistry as a profession and the impact it's had on the need in society. So I want to remind each and every one of you that there's more than enough opportunity in your own practices if you start to look for it and if you start to generate and promote the conversation. Okay, now, you have decided leaving this program, it's the end of the course, and you've decided, okay, I want to move implants to the next level in my office. What's the first thing that any person that wants to achieve something in life must do? First thing.
Learn.
Mm-hmm.
Learn.
Learn, you're doing that now. And then the next step is practice. How do we practice? Well, we've got to take it back to the office. The first step is set a goal. Now, some people might say, oh, no shit, Sherlock, but yeah, you'd be surprised how many people don't actually go back and set a clear goal. The bottom line is, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. Setting a clear goal on how many implants you want to place that year is going to be one of the first kickstart things that you can do that will make that difference. Now, let me explain what I'm doing. When I'm giving you these 10 steps, I want you to think of yourself, each one of you, as a basketball team. When a basketball team wants to win, when they're in the locker room and they say, okay, we lost the last game, we got to do better the next game with this team. The coach doesn't say, let's score more baskets, right? What does the coach say? The coach says, let's take more three-point shots. Let's increase our free throw percentage. Let's decrease the conversions. Let's increase our rebounds. Let's hustle a little more offensively. They're taking many little variables put together that will have a net overall holistic effect on the outcome of the game. It's going to be the same thing with implant dentistry with these 10 steps. So the first one is set a what? Set a goal. And I'm going to say it one more time. Set a goal. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. The second one, establish a fee. But let me be clear here. Charge what you're worth, or you become worth what you charge. A lot of people get into this game and suddenly they think to themselves, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money, right? And so I know this one dental assistant in this one office, everyone would make fun of her. Ask me how much an implant costs. How much is one implant? Ask me loud.
How much is one implant?
It'll be $4,000. and and they make fun of her because she's got this almost like, you know, she feels uncomfortable with the fee. I'm going to remind you, develop a confidence with the fee and understand that a fool, right, is someone who understands the price of everything and the value of nothing, right? Dental implants are worth something much more than the actual cash amount that that person is paying. When you're discussing fees, you have to take the microscope off the price and shine the spotlight on the value. Do you feel what I'm saying? Now, what is the value of an implant? Quick, what is it? That has to be automatic. The value of an implant is Implant is 4 things: how good it looks, how long it lasts, how well it functions, and how comfortable it feels. Do you feel that? 4 things. Are all dental implants the same? Are they? Are all dental implants the same? Bottom line, they are. And you have to be really clear in your own mind when you're communicating with people. When someone brings up the issue of price, right? Your focus should be to spend more time talking about the actual value of the implant. It's $4,000. Oh my God, you know, that's expensive. Well, remember what I said earlier? You're not buying or paying for a piece of titanium screwed into your bone with porcelain placed on top. That's how much it costs for us. Take the microscope off the price, shine the spotlight on the value to provide you with something that will what? Look good, last a long time. What else? Function well for you and feel what? Feel comfortable in your mouth every day. We're providing you with something that's going to impact the way you live and feel on a day-to-day basis. This is a conversation that you want to have when establishing your fee. So what's number 1? Set a what? Number 2, set a what? And feel how about that fee? Feel comfortable and confident with that fee, right? The third one is speak to your implant rep. If you've set a goal, right? And I tell everyone to do this. When someone calls me after this program and they want to implement this, I say, get your implant company involved right now. Give them a call, and what's the first thing you should tell your implant company? Come on, it's number 1. Tell them the goal. Tell them, look, this is what I want to do over the next 12 months. And the next thing you should do is ask them a question. How can you help me? Very quickly, I'm going to ask you, can you help them when they ask that question?
Absolutely.
In what ways?
CE, training, marketing, training their staff how to talk to patients about implants.
Chairs that support, case planning.
Absolutely. Start the relationship. The implant company is there to help you. You'd be blown away by how many different ways they can help you. So that's number 3, right? The implant company. Okay, number 4. Durbin Lab.
Oh God.
There we are, right? Call your lab and let them know the exact same thing. Here's my goal. Here's what I want to do over the next year. Develop a specialized laboratory relationship. This old school model where we're just sending scripts to a lab and they're just like servants providing it to you is not the way you really succeed and thrive when it comes to advanced care. And especially remember, there are going to be times when you run into complications, when things are challenging. You don't want a lab that's just serving you what you ask for. You want a lab that's collaborating with you and a lab whose experience you can tap into because they've seen a lot more in most cases and they can help you kind of on a deep level. So step 1 is set a what?
Goal.
2, establish a, how should we feel about the fee? Absolutely. Call who? The implant company. Are they going to help you? Ask for help. What's the first message that you should give the implant company? Your goal, exactly. Establish a goal and ask them how they can help you to achieve the goal. Man, you're becoming like a championship basketball team now. Okay, next is the team. Oh yeah, get the team involved. Now here's an issue with this. One time I was working, there was a patient that came in and she was a really slim patient. One day she came in and she was all plump. And so I didn't ask, but she brought it up. She says, yeah, I'm gaining a lot of weight, I'm frustrated, this and that. We had a talk, you know, and so, and what does it turn out? It turns out that she was really heavy into jogging in a running group, and so her teeth were really sensitive. I won't get into why, right? It's another story, but her teeth were really sensitive, and we desensitized. We found out that she couldn't jog in the wintertime with her teeth like that, and that she'd stop running, and that it impacted her weight. And if desensitization can impact the way someone lives and feels, imagine what implant dentistry can do in people's lives. So I think it's really important that the next step, where is it here? Figures it'll be the last one. I think the next step is have a meeting with your team, and when you get your team involved, right? So number one, set a what? Goal. Number two, establish a what? Fee. Good. Feel good about that fee. Number three, call who?
Reps.
Share the goal, right? Number four, establish a deeper relationship with who? Your laboratory, so that they can support you in a technical way, right? Number five, get who involved? Your team. Here's the issue with the team. With the team, right, you want to educate them, inspire them, awaken them on treatment modalities, clinical indications, the functional benefits, the aesthetic benefits, the social benefits, the professional benefits. We understand that some people, right, their mouths impact the way they live and the way they feel at work. I can tell you countless stories related to how people have been impacted by regaining the feeling of having their own natural teeth in the workplace, right? So it's powerful. The key here is you want to get your team involved, because the people around you, you can't promote these by yourself, right? You can't implement this by yourself, and you can't create a buzz inside the office by yourself. So do we have the first five? Those are the most important. I'm gonna just review them once, and then I'll give you the next five, and those are quick. Set a what?
Goal.
Establish a, how must we feel about the fee? Confident. Are we selling titanium? What are we providing people? Quality of life. And did I just use the word sales? I did, didn't I? What is sales? Because most dentists, when they hear the word sales, it conjures these images of manipulating people into parting with their hard-earned money, right? For most dentists, the concept of sales wasn't something that you applied for when applying to dental school, correct? Right? But sales, in the true essence of what it is a process of helping people to make decisions that will add to the quality of their lives. And the bottom line is that you play a role in that, because if you can't create value for what it is that you're doing in these people's lives. He said 2 minutes? Okay, good. Next five. Get the proper forms, get the proper tools, start an external marketing plan. Here it is, the most important part of it. Tony Robbins said, when you think about something, it's a dream. When you talk about it, it becomes exciting. When you plan it, it becomes possible. What's the last one? When you schedule it, it becomes real. Create a schedule in your office that makes room for implant dentistry so that you can grow into it. The way I usually do it with an office is we'll pick 1 day, 1 month from now. So what we'll do, we'll set a 1-year goal. We'll establish a fee. We'll involve the implant company. We'll develop a specialized relationship with the lab, and then we'll do a full team meeting. The entire team is in the room. We create value for the implants. Maybe the reps might want to be there at that point and help out in that meeting. Then what we do is we block the schedule. 1 month from now, we block a full day for what? Say it. Implant dentistry. And who promotes it? Everyone in the office is conscious. All we have to fill is how much? 1 day. You'd be blown away how that day gets filled, right? After you do that 1 day, And then you do it a month from now, and then a month from now, you've now done it how many times? Now, the skills required to promote the dentistry, the skills required to administrate the dentistry, the skills required to collect the money, and the skills required to deliver the care are all improved over those 3 months. Now, the second batch of 3 months, you do it twice a month. You block off a full day. Until finally 7 months from now, you can actually do 1 day a week of merely implant dentistry, right? That's how you do this. And you have to believe that these steps in this process works. Now, you said, back there, you said that one of the most important things is to also learn how to what?
Communicate with patients?
Yeah, communicate with patients. So in a nutshell, Dr. Lin wants me to stop. So I just want to tell all of you that this is an amazing opportunity. Some of you may already be placing them, some of you may not be, but if you set a goal, if you establish a fee, if you call the implant company, if you get your lab involved, if you bring your team into the room, and if you prepare your schedule, you'd be amazed at the tremendous opportunities. And I think we all have to remember that the opportunity with implant dentistry is, number one, you can make an incredible amount of money. I see all your books here, right? I know that wealth is not important to anyone in the room, but you can make an incredible amount of money. Number two, you can have a huge impact on the lives of the people attached to the teeth in much deeper and more meaningful ways. And number three, the entire team, including yourselves, can have an expansion in the level of fulfillment that they draw from being in dentistry. So go back to your practices and really enjoy this and treat it like a skill. Life is a skill, and you're athletes. I'm a coach. I help practices to achieve their goals and to grow ideas into their office and to be more effective and to train their team and so on. If anyone's got any questions for me, please feel free to approach. And other than that, congratulations on your training. Thanks, guys. Enjoy lunch.